Good morning, dear students. Today you are going to learn on remedy to control hemorrhage, that is millifolium. Millifolium. Its common name is yarrow and it belongs to family Compositae. You have already learned so many remedies belong to Compositae family like Cinna, Camomilla, Calendula, etc. Here also millifolium belongs to family Compositae. And millifolium is an important remedy given for various type of hemorrhages from nose, lungs, kidneys, bowels or sexual organs of females or from mechanical origin, etc. But the character of the hemorrhage is painless, without fever, bright red, fluid blood. So the hemorrhage of millifolium is painless, without fever, bright red and fluid blood. And also it is a remedy given for vertigo, especially when moving slowly, but not when taking violent exercise. So remember, the hemorrhage is very important in case of millifolium. It is given for painless, profuse bleeding, especially of bright red in nature. That is without anxiety. But in case of aconite, similarly bright red flow is there, but there is anxiety is very much prominent. Here in case of millifolium, no anxiety is found. Then ailments from overlifting, overexertion or after a fall. And the wounds bleed profusely, especially from a fall. And about hemorrhages, painless, no fever, bright red, fluid blood, similar to aconite, ipecac, sabina, and from all orifices of the body, lungs, bronchi, larynx, mouth, nose, stomach, bladder, rectum, uterus, or from any mechanical injury, from wounds, etc. So the character of the blood is important. Painless, no fever, bright red, fluid, no anxiety. Wounds which bleed profusely, especially after a fall. Now we can apply this hemorrhage to region wise. From nose, it is a remedy for epistaxis. So you have to remember the character feature of the hemorrhage. That is, it is painless, no fever, bright red, fluid blood and no anxiety. Then from GAT, again bleeding from bowels. Similarly, bleeding from hemorrhoids. Here also you have to remember the character of the blood, which is painless, without anxiety, without fever, bright red, fluid blood nature is seen. Then for females, again it is a remedy for hemorrhage after labor, abortion or miscarriage. And here the menses is early, profuse, protracted, suppressed with colic pain in abdomen. Then about blood, the nature of the blood is painless, no fever, bright red, fluid and no anxiety. Again, it is given for painful varices in female genitalia during pregnancy. Again, it is remedy for leukorrhea of children from atony. Then regarding respiratory symptoms, given for hemoptysis, especially after injury, in incipient phthisis, especially in case of hemorrhoidal patients from a ruptured blood vessels. Here also about the nature of the blood, painless, bright red, fluid, without any anxiety and fever. Then during cough also there is rising of bright red blood, or in case of suppressed menses or in case of suppressed hemorrhoids with oppression and palpitation after a fall from height or after a violent exertion and with daily blood, especially at 4 p.m. Then head, there is vertigo, especially when moving slowly and not from taking active exercise. Then coming to the modality, aggravation after violent exertion, 4 p.m., suppression of habitual discharges from slow motion, evening, during night, and amelioration when taking violent exercise from re-establishment of discharges and during day. So these are all about the hemorrhage of millifolium. So the hemorrhages, the important points are painless, no fever, no anxiety, bright red and fluid blood is seen. This nature of blood is seen from all orifices of the body. So next, let's compare the drugs having bleeding tendency. Usually bright blood nature is seen in case of aconite, ipecac, phosphorus, belladonna, erigeron. White black blood is usually seen in all acid groups, Ophidia group, crocus, etc. Then Acalifa indica, usually bright red blood, and it is very much profuse in morning and becomes dark and clotted in the afternoon. In case of belladonna again remedy for congestion, remedy for inflammation with red face, bright red bleeding is noticeable. Next, carbovagite. In carbovagite, venous hemorrhages are noted, and especially passive nature of hemorrhages is a characteristic feature. In case of hamamelis, active or passive hemorrhages is seen, profuse flow and soreness is the characteristic feature. Phosphorus, in case of phosphorus, bright red, non-coagulable, watery, oozing nature is seen. Bright red nature of blood is seen in phosphorus. Trillium usually bright red, but there is a tendency to putrescence. Ustilago also bright red blood is seen, partly clotted, and also there is oozing of dark clotted blood which can form into long black strings. That is stringy nature of bleeding. Again, you have studied stringy nature of bleeding in case of crocus. Similarly, crocus having dark red stringy blood. In case of macphos also, dark stringy blood is seen. While in case of lacananum, bright and viscid stringy nature of bleeding is seen in case of lacananum. In lachesis also small wound bleed much, but the nature of the blood is dark and uncoagulable. Sabina also the hemorrhage is partly pale red, partly clotted, and the hemorrhage is relieved by walking. In case of cyclamen you have learned the blood nature is black, clotted, but the patient feels better during menses, similar to lachesis, cingum, macphos, etc. In cyclamen, natural blood is black clotted. In case of madorinum also dark clotted, offensive blood is seen. So remember the bleeding of millifolium. The hemorrhages, character of hemorrhages are painless bleeding, no fever, no anxiety. Anxiety is seen in case of aconite. Here, no anxiety. Bright red nature of blood, especially fluid nature, similar to phosphorus. Phosphorus also bright red, fluid, oozing, non-coagulable. So, study well the hemorrhage of millifolium. Thank you.